Good afternoon and welcome to Viscount Leisure. My name's Chris and I'm going to be doing a virtual tour around this motorhome for you this afternoon. We're going to set off around the outside and work our way around and through onto the inside, show you how everything works, where it works from and how it operates. And then we'll go through a winterization and draining down of your van at the end of the demonstration. So with no further ado, we're going to set off by the entrance door, the way into your caravan, commonly known in the industry as the habitation door. So I can unlock it on the key supplied there like so, turn it to the rear to unlock it, door comes open, solid door. I can open it and unlock it from inside from there. Built into the door frame is my door fly screen like so, to keep all those midges and bugs out in those hot summer evenings. And inside the door is a switch for my step. I can put it in and take it out. It will automatically go in when the engine starts, and when I open the cab doors it will go out to let me in that way, although this door being a manual key door. Once I've finished I can close it over like so, and there we have our habitation door with electric step. This van's always also fitted with an alarm system, and you'll see as we go around there's varying identifications that it's armed and alarmed. So one button will press and then the red lights there will rapidly flash for approximately 16 seconds while it's arming, and then they will go to a flash every 15 seconds. And there's one just down there showing you that it's arming now, and we'll see the rest as we go around, because we're going to work round in a clockwise direction. So moving round now, the next thing we come through is our fridge vents. When we go inside, if you're new to this, the fridge looks very much domesticated like a fridge at home. Unfortunately, it operates somewhat differently. It needs three independent heat source, of which it needs a heat source to operate it, because what it does is it changes a liquid into a gas, which gives us a cooling medium to cool and chill down the fridge, returns back as a liquid, heats up and changes to a gas again. So this fridge is fitted with three independent heating controls. One is I can operate it when I'm travelling from A to B, C to D with my engine running, if I select the battery icon inside, and that will start to chill down and maintain my fridge off the 12-volt system, off the alternator system. I can operate it on gas, so that if I'm in the field in the middle of nowhere, it can operate on gas. I can also operate it on electric independently if I'm on a site plugged into mains electric. And all of those will operate the fridge, as we will see when we get inside and show you how it operates. But then all you've got on here is the circulation, the vents there to circulate the air around the rear. One thing the fridge does desperately like is to be level. In this position here I'm almost level, I'm leaning nose down, so realistically when you purchase your van you need to purchase yourself a pair of levelling wedges, so that I would drive up on here to get a perfect level. It would make everything more efficient, the drainage system from the wash hand basin, kitchen sink and shower, and also your fridge will work at maximum efficiency being level, and also your comfort when you're inside. Just forwards of our fridge vents is our gas barbecue point. So we've got an external gas barbecue point which runs off the gas bottle sited in the van. Okay, so if I've got a gas appliance or gas barbecue, I connect the hose up onto that bayonet connection. I plug my barbecue into the side like so, I turn on the tap, that puts gas out, and I can cook away with my barbecue. Once I've finished, that's still connected to the hose, take it out and keep it with my barbecue ready for next time. A good old hit and that locks that into position. With your motorhome you will get your handbook packs, which is there. We've set the alarms off already. Okay, so that made me jump. All right, so we can then just press the top button there to unarm. So there we go. We know those have worked on the door brake there. So you've got your red handbook pack supplied with all the handbooks relevant to the motorhome that came in with, and I'm just going to put that barbecue point into the bottom of that bag there like so. The next thing we come across before we start on the cab is our fuel filler point there, and I've got two full sets of keys. There I've got my central locking key and my valeter's key, all coded independently, and then two keys one key fits all from the hab door, all my lockers all around the van there, and 2 alarm fobs. So to open the fuel filler, it's the ignition key in, turn, release. If I need to take my keys out to hang that down while I fuel, I need to relock it, back in, unlock it like so, into position, in there, turn it and lock it to the rear. So that is your fuel filler on there. We've also got on the side of our motorhome a sun canopy. People call them awnings. They're actually a canopy. They're a shade. I can extend that handle to any height that I want it. The handle goes in the side like so, and then we wind it out thus like that in a clockwise direction, and I wind it out to a point where I can reach it, not all the way because the weight in these is quite heavy, so I get it to a point where I can reach the front lead edge. Once I've got to that point, I can then pull the leg from there like so and lower it down to the ground, and then this way it's taking the weight off this awning, okay, because we don't want to be putting a lot of strain on the side of our motorhome. If I'm doing this with a partner, then once it gets to a point where someone can reach it, they can support it as I wind it out. I'm just going to stagger the legs out like so, and then I will then carry on winding out my awning. Now this has got a 2.5 metre projection, so it will come out 2.5 metres from the side of the van, and again doing it on my own, yeah, is a little bit more time consuming, but is all very doable. These legs might slide on this tarmac, so we need to be a little bit careful as we go, but we can see we can go all the way out. I'll know when I've gone too far because the cloth will slop, so we just need to carry on going, and you'll see if I go too far like so, the cloth's gone back just on a slight angle, and there we have it. So that's us set out like so. You can now see that this is all the way out, 2.5 metre projection, 4 metres in length. I think this one is, yeah, it is, giving you a 4 2s are 8, 10 metre square sail. All right, so if the wind gets under here, what's going to happen is it's got the risk of it taking it up and over the roof, tearing it outside of the van. This is why we demonstrate it as a sun canopy only. The other thing is rain has the same adverse effect. If it rains, gets wet on there, it'll pull down, a weight of water will come in, and it'll also start to damage the awning. Also recommend that when you set it up, you have it reasonably low down there, and you have one leg shorter than the other. And the reason that we do that is that if it does rain, it's got an angle to run down and run off. It's got less risk of pooling and sagging. Now you can buy all sorts of tie down kits, nail down kits, anchorage kits for these, but the truth of the matter is if the wind's up, it will take it up and off. And especially if you go out for the day and go off hiking or something and leave it, you need to be making sure it's a complete still day like today, that there's going to be no problems. But to put it away, it's so easy that doesn't seem fair to leave it out and take that risk of causing damage. So just make sure your legs go back up like so, they're locked off, and it's exactly roles reversed. Yep, handle back in, and we start to wind the canopy back in, back to a point where we can reach it. Okay, a little bit further than that, not too far, and make it easy rather than stretch out, because putting these legs back is quite critical to get it just right. So we'll just come back a little bit further. There we go, that'll do. Handle can hang in there. I can then undo the thumb screw, turn it round like so, push the leg back in and turn the foot away from myself so it's facing away. Put the foot in there like so, push the end of that so that goes, clips into there, and the foot goes behind the bracket to store it away. If it's not right and the foot's the wrong way around, it won't close up correctly, and it will then start to bore the front of the awning rail, i.e. this part here. So with those away in the correct position, we can carry on winding away, and that will then wind away and store back into the hole on the side of the van. like so, handle back in, quarter of a turn, release, and then we can close the handle up into its contracted position. And we'll take that in when we go inside very shortly to find its storage. So here we now come round to our cab. Fairly standard driving position, cab stroke car. All the functions are the same. 6-speed manual gearbox, reverse is up colour, over and forwards, standard stereo system. Okay, reversing camera screen up on the rear view mount, along with your heating controls. Heated rear windscreen is our wing mirrors. We'll dry out and defrost those. You've got your hill descent and your traction control on there, all in accordance with the handbooks which are in the pack here. 12-volt socket, USB point down there, glove boxes all around, electric window position there, and in the back down here there's a pair of these, and they're silver screens that pop onto there to give you the privacy and the thermal comfort that you need in those winter months. The front is doubled up with a blackout blind that comes across, goes behind our camera fitting there. That little bit pops back and it magnetizes together, okay, through there to give you the privacy in the front. Now that doesn't give you a lot of thermal efficiency, these on the side do, so you might want to consider getting an external one for the front. You'll find you'll get in the winter, you'll get quite a bit of condensation on there, coldest point of the van being the single glazed glass at the front. Underneath this driver's seat here, you will find you've got your toolkit for your spare wheel, which is slung under the rear. The easiest way to extract that is to lift that out like so, pull out your toolkit, push that handle in there, and you'll find from your towing eye to your jack to your wheel brace is all in there. Towing eye is most likely one of the essential things, and that is where it's stored. On completion, in and lock that away like so, and push down and click that into position like that, and that's clicked away. Your driver's seat, passenger seat and driver's seat operate the same, forwards, backwards. I can height adjust from the position like so, or set back lower. I've got my armrests will go up and adjust, and the back there will come up and adjust, along with the driver's one, which is exactly the same, just there. So working our way around, one thing I missed in there is my bonnet release. My bonnet release is in the front of the door pillar there in the plastic dash. Pull that will release the door release catch there. So coming on round now, through, lifting up the bonnet there like so. Engines here, you find there's no vehicle start battery under here. That's because the start battery is in a box under the floor, under the passenger, in front of the passenger seat. So under the carpet, under a plastic lid, under a metal lid, you'll find the vehicle start battery. However, that doesn't stop us from jump starting, because just here is my negative pickup, and if I get my key by the yellow cross which shows me the positive, lever that back, there's my positive. They're connected direct through to my vehicle battery, so I can jump or donate a jump start from there with my positive red wire on, negative wire black on, onto my donor vehicle, or vice versa. All my levels here, the most important one for you is your screen wash, which is the one in the left hand side there, and then coming across this row here I've got my power steering fluid, my coolant level, and my brake fluid. Those are accessible by releasing the clips, lifting the pod off on the top should I ever need to do them. If it's serviced regularly, you most likely find you never will. Brake oil filler in the top there, and our oil dipstick just sat down here down the front. Apart from that, everything else is a bit magical and mysterious. That's all that's important to you, and once you're finished storing away your bonnet prop, down we come and just drop the bonnet into position, working our way around past the front offside wheel through to the driver's side. On the driver's side, the little dial in the door there, go to the first one and that'll alter my wing mirror top. The next one down, wing mirror bottom. and the same on the other side. Wing mirror bottom, wing mirror top, mid positions isolated, in control of both of my electric windows from there. And on the steering wheel I've got my radio controls and my wipers on the right, cruise control lower left, and my lights on the top stalk over there. Also, this has got an earth brake, so if I'm laying it up for long-term storage, once I put the ignition key in, if I press the red button and turn it another quarter of a turn, that will give me a chance to get out of the vehicle, lock the doors, but when I come back they won't work on the central locking. I would then need to manually open the door and then manually turn that, which will then start up the Leisure battery process. By isolating it, which is a really good idea long term in the winter, but it will clear all the clock days dates out of the dash, and then you need to go into the program there or with the handbooks of how to do so. Your front seat, again, exactly the same as your passenger side, along with your handbrake there, and your spare blind for this side here, and your blackout blind on that one there, like so. Underneath this seat here we have our storage tray, so we've got a tray under there for storing bits, along with the pockets either side. This particular vehicle has got an outdoor shower, and you can see it's never been used on here. It's still there to make up, but what happens is that plugs into there, the shower end goes on, press the trigger, water pump inside will pump in, cut in, and pump cold water out through your external outdoor shower. So that there is yours. I'm just going to put that round here and we'll put it inside when we go in a minute. So that's an external shower to hose down the dog or wash your bike off, or your walking boots, welly boots, etc, etc. We then come across to our toilet cassette. So the toilet in here, it's no different to going to a toilet in a caravan or motorhome as it is at home. Instead of going to the toilet, going down a 6-inch soil pipe into a sewer, when you go to the toilet in your motorhome, it's going down a 3-inch gate valve into a holding tank. The holding tank here, okay, will collect all our waste. Once I'm ready to empty it or leave site, and there's a good thing that somebody's already done, it won't come out. I don't need to be forcing it, trying to break it to get it out. I know exactly what it is. What I need to do is go around and inside, because inside there's a little gate lever that operates the lid to drop down the contents into the toilet. And what's happened is somebody's been here and left that open. So if I look at the toilet from inside here, what I'll see is I've got that left open like so, so I can then extract the toilet from the outside. So coming back round, so with the gate now open in its correct position, the toilet will just slide out like so. What we saw from inside was that was over like that. The toilet was open, so that was running across the van. It needs to be in like so, so it runs in and out. Once you've extracted it from the van, you can then lift the handle and wheel it off to what's known as an Elson point, or you can carry it by hand. Either or, when you get it to the disposal point, give it a good shake up to break down the contents, spinning off the lid and place it somewhere well away from where you're about to empty the toilet. Once you've done that, you can empty it away by pressing the little button there, which allows air in as I empty the contents out. Once I've emptied it out, all Elson points will have a hose pipe there to wash it out, cleaning out and get it to the level of cleanliness that you require it to be your own self. Once you've done that, come back to your van and charge it ready for use. Now, as you should read the map books and the handbooks, it'll tell you 75 ml of liquid blue chemical with 2 litres of water. In my book and my experience, and you'll experience it watching everybody else when you're on site, it's a couple of glugs out of the blue container into the toilet, and no liquid if you're using the toilet. If you're laying it up for a period of time, then I'd dilute it down a little bit just by flushing the toilet from inside, as we'll see when we get in to the van. Or in the winter, I would just empty it all out completely and give it a bleach, clean it all through, ready for use. There it is now, in and stored, door closed, and I can now lock my toilet away like so. The next compartment we come across here is my battery locker. External battery locker, housing a 110 amp battery in there, or 100 amp battery. 95 amp hour battery, my mistake. Okay, sat in there. Now that is charged three ways. It's charged from my vehicle when I'm travelling from A to B, C to D, etc. So off my vehicle alternator system, it will charge my leisure battery, prioritise my vehicle, but then trickle through to my leisure. It will also charge when I'm plugged into mains electric, like I am now. And it will also charge from solar, because on here is a solar panel, and we'll see the charge controller for that inside the van. So on a day like today, it's getting charged from electric and it's getting charged from the solar with the panel on the top. It's all intelligent, so it all knows exactly what charge to put in and when to stop, etc, etc. Always make sure your battery's strapped and secured in there, okay, and that is fairly self-explanatory really. The next thing is our mains lead. If you don't have one, something you'd need to purchase, and our mains lead plugs into your motorhome like so. So if you're on a site supplying electric, then you'd need your lead. The golden rule with this is plug into your motorhome and then go off and plug into your point of electric. Once you've finished with it, disconnect from your point of electric and then come back and disconnect from your motorhome. The reason that we do this is because we're always dealing with dead power, we're never dealing with live power, therefore we minimise the risk of harm, injury or electrocution to ourselves. This lead will also drop out through the bottom, so I can close that up with the lead in and lock it so nobody else can take it out for you. So once we're finished, we'll disconnect that. A couple of other golden rules, tips and hints is always make sure that your mains lead's faked out. What a lot of people tend to do these days is buy a drum to coil your lead on, and if you've only got to go from there to there, you don't run it out. But you draw quite a lot of current into this van on your heating, your fridge, etc. So you always recommend that you lay out or fake out your mains lead along the side of the van. It reduces the risk of burning out the cables inside the orange cable and losing power and not having anything to plug back in again. And they're not cheap items of equipment these days, so you want to look after it. So always make sure you fake it out. And we'll disconnect this at the end when we're finished and you'll see us lock that up. Here we come across the boiler flue. The flue is in the back corner of our boiler here. And this is the flue from it. So if I operate my boiler on gas, then it will flue out through this flue here. And my boiler I can operate on gas and or electric, and it heats my hot water and operates my heating system, as we will see when we get inside our motorhome. Also, we've got an external light here, a service light fitted with a switch just inside, as we'll see when we get inside our motorhome. Round to the rear, I've got a two bike rack on here that comes down, drops like so. Couple of little straps under there that strap over and lock into position, 1 and 2. These are all adjustable, so I can move these and slide these to get them in the right position for my bike. Through the spokes, over, ratchet down into position like so. Okay, and then so I can move those to get the right position. My arms come out, undo, turn around, swivel, and that will go on your crossbar, saddle stem, handlebars, etc. for 1 and 2. Okay, that bar there will lift up and raise up to get all the exact positions that I need. And when I've got my bikes off and I'm finished, a firm push clicks that back up into position like so. Also, you can see the lights flashing there, okay, on the alarm system. Also, if I was to crawl underneath there, push that up into what looks like a 7-pin turning socket, break that, wrap that round my bikes. If anyone's to take your bikes, breaks that connection like so, then the alarm's going to sound the same as it did on the door brake. So that's a safety a piece of equipment on the alarm system for your bike rack. Through to here is my freshwater filler. I have on board an onboard freshwater tank, and that freshwater tank is inboard behind the rear seats here, and we'll see it when we get inside. Okay, so when I fill up, I then open up the filler here, put my hose in and fill up my tank with water, and that is there locked with the same key. My grey water tank underslung just down there like so. Okay, if I just get down on my hands and knees a minute, then we'll see there's my grey water tank. So that collates everything from my wash hand basin, kitchen sink and shower. Okay, forward of that is my spare wheel, just sat there like so, and here with the winding handle supplied, if I turn that like that, it goes up and stores that drain point away back down to empty it out and drain it. Okay, so there we are, a little bit of test water in there to drain down, but it'll secure back up in the upright position for travelling, so it's not so low to ground. Okay, so that's my grey water from my wash hand basin, kitchen sink and shower, and my fresh water in through there. Coming along now to my gas locker. That's my test bottle in here. This will come out at the end of this, so it's plumbed up for propane, red gas. We plumb all our gas bottles up for that because it's an all the year round gas. It doesn't freeze in the winter months. And realistically, open the bottle for the gas, which is the brass valve on the top, the same as any tap, anti-clockwise to open it, clockwise to close it. It goes through the braided hose into the regulator, which reduces bottle pressure down to van working pressure. Then it comes in through a crash sensor, so I need to press that button in the middle there, that green one, to set it, and then that allows the gas down through to the van into a manifold valve, and that gives me a series of isolators, and those isolators will isolate all my appliances operating on gas. Some do's and don'ts in here: always make sure your bottle's strapped in prior to travelling off, and always make sure your gas is turned off before you drive off. Even though you've got the crash sensor, I still recommend you switch your gas off. Position to carry 2 bottles, one in there, one in that side there. Also, when you open up for the very first time, I always recommend that you go in and light your hobs. They're one of the only visual points of seeing that you've got gas in your van and you've got everything set correctly. So by doing that, it will then make sure that you've got gas through, so when you come to light appliances where you can't see whether they're lit or not, i.e. your fridge and your boiler, you've got a good chance they're going to light first time every time. Okay, so your alarm indicator, another one there, so this alarm lets people know you're all fully alarmed, and one just sat in the back light down there as well, so that allows people to know that you've got a full alarm system here on your van, like so. Okay, so with no further ado, we'll now go inside this lovely 6-berth motorhome here. Okay, so I've made all the bunks up. You've got a double bed at the front. This one here gives you a 3/4 stroke double and a full double in the rear, like so. So we're going to set off by breaking these down to get the full feel of the van. The infill cushions come with it like so, and this is quite a simple operation. That one lifts over, lifts up and drops into position like so, and I'm just going to put this over here in the back for a minute, and then we can slide that side extension in and put the clip up to stop it sliding out. That one comes up and off, okay, to store away like so, and then I can slide that one back into there like so, and that comes up, and then what happens is that back comes up, which is cut out for the rear there. Okay, so we pull the seat belts forwards, thus like that, and drops into position there. And the same with this one here, comes up, drops over and into position like so. And there's a little infill cushion that does the resets in there. Underneath this seat here, I've got storage, plenty of. Okay, and under the seat here I've got let's just pull that one out a minute, because under there I've got my power supply unit, which is commonly known as a PSU, which is my power supply unit, and my battery charger. So that gives me all the 12-volt fuses through there, and it tells me what each one does down there, and they're numbered through 1 through to 15. On this side here, it's a 240-volt side, so I've got my master MCB and my master RCD and my 3 MCBs there, all identified up, 230-volt sockets, extra sockets and heater, fridge, etc. The master RCD, always a good idea to check it regularly. One of the most commonly asked questions is that I've got on site and I've got no electric even though I've plugged in. Almost guarantee it's the site electrics and not your van, but to double check it, if you press the little yellow test button just there, and if that doesn't happen and that doesn't trip like that, then what that means is that it's the site electrics. This needs power for that to operate. If you haven't got power and you've got nothing coming into your van, that will not operate. So that's a good indication on there. Okay, that's my battery charger master switch there, my heating and hot water master switch. Okay, and there is my intelligent charger, which will charge up the Leisure battery, which we've just seen outside. So not much storage under there, but the heart of everything electronic. In the top left hand button there is a system shutdown button. That's got 2 roles realistically. One is it will reset and recalibrate everything in the van when you shut it down. And if you're storing it for a long period of time, if you shut that down, okay, it'll kill everything in your van. Therefore it'll isolate your battery, charge, because solar panels still charge it, but it'll stave any draw on the battery. So that's your system shutdown button there, which is very much like an earth brake, an isolator for long-term storage or lack of use. So putting the seat back there, I can then lift up the table from there. That table will then put onto there, leg round and down, and now I've got a nice 4-berth diner with 4 travelling seat belts there like so, and my overhead cupboards for storage. Now, one thing with storage, I always strongly suggest chocolate crisps and peanuts go up here in these lockers, wines, beers and spirits go down below. Centre of gravity, keep your lightweight stuff up the top. Nice couple of reading lights there, so you can sit in the corner and read a book with those, 1 and 2. And you've got your window here, and all your windows operate the same on a click-clack stay. Little gentle till it clicks, fly screen down like so. That's got one position only, all the way down or all the way up, and then that's backed up with a blackout blind, which I can cut all the light out completely, but I can also set it so I can vent and shade, so I can still read that book in the daytime but still get natural ventilation coming through with a bit of shade. Firm push will release the window back into position 1, 2, 3 and 4 and locked away. Kitchen window and all my others operate exactly the same. On the top bunk here, I have a bunk ladder, so I can access that and get up onto that top bunk there like so. It comes through. I've got my safety net, which will clip onto the front here and then clips onto the rails there. My little window on the side, again with its blackout blind and fly screen, okay, on there like so. Okay, and a little LED reading light in the side of my bunk, just down on the side over there. Little bit of storage up the top here and over the other side as well. So down from the bed, and then you can store your infill cushions for this lower bed makeup up on the top of there as well. Always suggest you keep the ladder to the front. That'll come down and then that will lift up like so. Okay, so you've got more headroom to access to get in and under to and from the cab if you so choose to want to do so. So there is your front diner there. Working through, we've got an extractor fan here, so I can open up the skylight there, press the on and off button, which is the middle button there, and that will then extract, take air out in accordance with the little picture. I can speed that up, or I can change it around and fetch air into the van by going in the other direction like so. There we are, and down we come, and it'll stop itself rotate and change direction. There we are, and the mid position is off. Once I've finished, always make sure I'm closed down there like so. So through now to our cooking area here. We've got our overhead cupboard there, plug there for the microwave, our plate and mug rack. Our microwave is a straightforward, any domestic microwave. Not forgetting this will only work if I'm plugged into mains electric. Anything 240 volts such as hairdryers, razors, shavers, curling tongs, kettles, toasters, etc. There's no point trying to plug them into here if you're not on a site with electric. If you're in a field in the middle of nowhere, anything that you plug into a square pin domesticated looking plug will not work, nor will your microwave. Okay, but because we're plugged into mains here and now, minute increments, up it goes to do your milk, your coffee, stop, cancel, open, and you've got your circular table there, your rotary dial in there. Once you collect your van, you'll find that that for transit will be in your handbook pack with your handbooks. Your other mode of cooking is here. You've got a 3 gas burner hob with a combination oven and grill. So I can light those middle front there. So turn it to maximum, press it, hold it, gas it, ignite it, hold it, release it. And the same for the back left. Press it, gas it, light it, hold it, release it. And the back one, again, exactly the same. 3 gas hobs there for cooking on. They will all go down to minimum and then back through to maximum and round and through into the off position. Coming down through into our oven here, we've got our oven go all the way through to maximum. Press it, gas it, ignite it, light it, hold it, release it, set the temperature I want on there, 1, 2, round to the gas, maximize, gas it, light it, hold it, ignite it, release it. Okay, 1 position only on there. I need to alter that on the tray to speed up and slow down my toast. But there's my toasting tray with the trivet and the handle and into the off position. Underneath my oven here, I've got a series of drawers, 1 and 2, down there for storing items of kitchen equipment in. And round to here, I've got my little storage tray up there, draining board, and there's the gas isolating valves we were talking about, colour coded red, green and blue, and red, green and blue, red water heater, white, blue is a fridge, and green is a hob and the grill, all sat down in there like so. Another little drawer up the top, which is my cutlery drawer there, chopping board on the side there, which stores away with my draining board inside the cupboard like so. And then if we just swap seats, we then come to our fridge down here. And as we said, it'll look like a domesticated fridge. There we are, with your salad crisper tray and your drinks trays in the door. Freezer will open like so. And there we've got a great big chunky chunk of ice that we've been making on our fridge. So we said there was 3 methods of heating this fridge to make it cold. One being gas, which I'm on now, and you'll notice it's quite a dim light on there. If I press it, it'll brighten up. So there I can now go into my controls because I've woken up the panel. So the blue flame is my gas. I can select electric, which I've just done, and that's now changed straight to electric if I'm plugged into mains. And if I change to there, it's alarmed, but if I started my engine, that would cancel the alarm because it would be coming off my vehicle engine charging system with my engine running. So we know we've stopped the engine straight through onto electric once you're plugged in, and there are the 3 methods of operating your fridge. 240 volt electric, gas, or 12 volts from my vehicle with the engine running. The next one over here is my temperature setting. Press it all the way to maximum, that's maximum coldness, down to minimum. Set it normally halfway at 3 bars. If I run out of gas, the same alarm as for the battery will come up there, and alarm. And if I lose my electric, the same thing will happen. To switch my fridge off, on and off button on the end, press it and hold it, and there's my fridge now switched off. Because I've made cold water, I can now demonstrate that I've had hot water operating in the van. It's boiler in the back corner, as we know from the flue outside. Just takes a little while to get that hot water coming up and round, and it's now starting to get warm, and we can then see there that it's now going to burn my hands because it's a bit hot, but it is a mixer tap, so I can set it to any shape, position I want it. And there we have my ice melting away, burning my fingers at the same time, but there we have it. You'll notice the water slightly struggling to drain away. That's because I've cheated and I've not levelled my van. If my van was level, it would certainly be flowing away a lot quicker. What it's trying to do is run down there and back up a hill to my tank. So it's a little bit slow. Because I've had hot water out through my kitchen sink, I'm going to have hot water through the rest of the van, but we'll see that as we go. On the lights there, little light switch on the front, so I can switch it on and off from there, so I can independently switch them off. And underneath the kitchen there, I've got a little switch down lighter underneath there with a quick worktop extension down here. Now this has only got one arm on it because it's designed, should you need to get out in an emergency, you can operate it with one hand and not try to be struggling with two. So there's never a spring put in the second one, so you can operate it straight away with one hand if you should need to get out of your motorhome in an emergency. We've got a carbon monoxide detector and smoke alarm sat there like so. So there we have our dining room, kitchen, cab, etc. So working our way through now, we'll make this back bed up because this is a real nice wraparound lounge. Again, we've got another pair of infill cushions there because this is quite a wide van, so it gives you a nice wide area there, and that width is to sleep from left to right. We can pull the seat back up from there like so, and the seat back up from there. And you can see then by lifting that slat, now slats will draw back up and back in and underneath there. And then we've got my centre back cushion there like so. Just before I put these back away, I'm going to lift that up because you have got access through a door on the side or through the seat there to give me access into this rear area here. There's my fresh water tank running through the back there. Okay, so that's my fresh water tank that holds my water, approximately 70-80 litres I believe. Okay, so I'm going to leave that open because we'll need to drain and empty that down in a minute, as I will the other side very shortly. Okay, so I'm just going to prop those into there because we'll see where the drains are, and then we can do that at the end. You've got all your overhead cupboards round there, 1, 2 and 4, with an open plan shelf on the other side. Your table storage, should you choose not to want to leave it up there, is stored in there on those clips. And I've got a freestanding table on a chrome pole that stands in the middle at the back. Decent sized wardrobe, pole goes in the hole in the floor, table sits on top of it, and your carpets are all sat in your wardrobe there as well. Inside your wardrobe there is a charge controller for your solar panel that controls the charge in there. Now that can't overcharge your battery, and it regulates the amount going into it. So it's all maintenance free, doesn't need anything doing to it. It is just a simple, make sure you keep your panel clean realistically. Up on here we've got our TV aerial, and our aerial on here I can raise it and direct it to get the best possible picture. I can alter the plane on the top there, the dish angle, to get me the better picture again, and then I can lock it down with that point facing forwards for travelling. That aerial comes into my booster. From my booster it comes out to my aerial point just down here, okay, to supply the one TV in the back. I can switch it on and off from the switch on the top left hand corner there, and that gives me a perfect picture. Not always, depends where you're sighted, but most of the time it will give you a very good picture in your caravan or motorhome. So we'll just put those infill cushions in there. Okay, your carpets were in there, and you've got a 240 volt socket, your aerial, and a 12 volt socket just there. We've got scatter cushions that we'll put back round in a minute, and then behind this curtain here there is another 12 volt socket, and the switch on the side is a switch for my service light outside, along with my reading lights 1 and 2. skylight in the roof, I can open that all the way up or strategically stop it. 1, 2 and back down into 3, along with I can close it off like so, back over, so I can vent and shade with those as well. Lifting up the seat on this side to mimic the other side, there is the back of my battery locker there, coming through to the boiler that we were discussing. Now with your boiler sat here, this does your heating and hot water. We've seen it doing our hot water, everything there. There's the flue pipe coming out. What's really important is the boiler drain valve, which is a drain valve just here. Now the water system on here you can see is plastic pipe system, okay, and it works on a pressure system. So if I open the drain on the boiler, the water pump sat just under this cupboard cuts in because the pressure has dropped. It's now refilled up and stopped the pump. So that's exactly with the tap. Open it up, pressure drops, pump starts, pumps the water through. This does, I say, all your heating and hot water out through a blown air system, off through varying legs, one down to the bathroom, one down through to there, another one coming through down and round the other side there and out down to the front. A very good, efficient system. We're going to leave that open because we'll drain that very shortly. What we're going to now do is come through to our bathroom. In our bathroom we've got a little skylight, what I like to call tilt and turn rock and roll, up and down, round and round. Okay, the idea of that is no matter what the weather conditions, how much the wind's blowing, if you're having a shower, you want to get rid of the vapour, you can tilt it in the direction, the wind direction, to stop it coming in. Fly screen comes up and through like so. There is my light and light switch up on there, okay, along with my cold water and hot water tap there. Pumps cut in, water's coming through nice and hot, and my shower exactly the same there through. Yeah, nice hot shower, nice powerful shower. The downside of having such a wonderful power shower is that everyone will want to stand under there and spend ages in the shower. You've only got the amount of water that's in your tank, therefore I strongly suggest that you educate people to get in, switch it on, get wet, switch it off, soap down, wash your hair, switch it on, rinse off, get out, let the next person in. Underneath there we've got our sink unit, and here's our toilet we saw earlier. I can swivel it to any position that I like to get the most comfortable, and whether I choose to sit or stand, I do what I need to do to go to the toilet. I press the button, flushes the toilet, move the grey lever on the side like so. That allows that to drain down into the tank. Once it's all drained down and done, unlike me making sure that I close the gate, which will allow the ease for the operator to extract the tank straight away, and it will also allow and make sure that the smells in the toilet stay in the toilet and they don't come back in the van. Above our bathroom there we've got a cupboard for towel storage, and then we can switch our lights out and close our bathroom door like so. That just now leaves us a couple of last little bits. One being the control panel for our boiler sat here. This is our Truma control panel. Press that and it gives me a front screen. The little motorhome with the temperature in it is my room temperature. If I turn that up now to 30 for example, okay, I'll see that starts to flash and the icon up there is flashing. That means it's going to cut in and start to heat my van to 30 degrees. Because I've been operating my hot water, the next icon across is my hot water. I've been selected on hot, okay, so we've used some hot off and it's now heating because it's flashing as well. I've got several settings on there. I can set that to boost. If I press that to boost, what will now happen is the heating stopped flashing because it's prioritized, and now it's just heating my hot water, so it's boosting my hot water. When it's finished boosting, it'll start to heat my van up again. If I select hot, then it will do hot water and heating at the same time. Okay, the other option I have is to go to eco, which is 40 degrees of hot water. So I've got 40, 60, boost to prioritize my hot water, or off like so. You can hear, if I just go over here and keep my mouth shut, you can hear the boiler fan cut in and is now blowing hot air around your van. Round through, press the button again, and then the next one over is there, which is my power supply. So I can either have it on gas, I can have it on gas and 1 kilowatt of electric, gas and 2 kilowatts of electric, and 1 kilowatt of electric on its own, and 2 kilowatts of electric on its own. The idea of these is it's sort of similarly known as summer and winter settings. Summer settings, if I'm on a site on electric, I would just have 1 kilowatt or 2 kilowatts of electric to heat my hot water, because it wouldn't need to heat my van. In the middle and depths of winter, what I would want is I'd most likely want to select mix of electric and gas, because that's going to get my van hotter quicker. Okay, so if I'm on a site with electric, I can operate it on electric and gas. If I'm in a field in the middle of nowhere, then I just want to be on gas on its own. And the whole remit of this is select what you want, press the middle button, and then it will select what you've selected. If you're into a screen you don't want to be, press the return button, it fetches you back. The fan on the end, eco or high, it's a fan speed setting for blowing the air around the van. If I switch my heating off, that fan will also go off. The next one there is for advanced stages of setting timers to program in to set your heating to come on in the morning, off at night, etc. Not quite for the faint-hearted, something you need to spend a little bit of time doing in a book to read. The next one there is to set my time, and my time is 14:08. So I set that 08 there, and that's set. And then I come through to the spanner and I've got temperature, brightness, language. Most importantly is reset. Press the reset and then press that again, and that will reset that boiler back to factory settings. Lose all your programs you've put in there and start again. Return key, because I don't want to go into it. Return again takes me back to the front screen. Okay, so just to recap before we shut down on this, the motorhome there is my room thermostat, so no different to your room thermostat at home. That goes from off to 30 degrees, so we'll set that to off. Our hot water, off, eco, hot or boost, we'll leave that off. Our power supply, well, we're going to leave that set at mix and 1, so if you get your van you're almost guaranteed to get something working. The fan now won't work because I've switched the heating off, and then the bottom line, we know what we're doing. Always recommend before you switch anything off, you always switch your boiler off by pressing the center button and holding it. Goes into the off mode. If you break the 12 volt cycle in there, it'll come up with a fault code of 12 volt missing. So it's always a nice idea to get in the habit of switching that off first. You then come over to your main panel over here. If I press a view levels button, it shows me I've got 13.5 volts in my leisure battery, 13.5 volts in my vehicle battery. My waste tank is empty and my fresh water tank is 3/4 full. The switch for my awning light is there, on and off, so that's it on because the green light's showing it, that's it off. I'm connected to mains electric and it's charging my leisure battery there. The water pump on and off button there, so if I now turn my tap on, I've got no water. If I switch on my water pump, there I've got water. Switch it off and it's off. Frost protect is tank heaters on my waste tank, and cabin lights is a complete isolating switch for all the lights. So whatever lights I've got on, if I hit the cabin lights button, it will power those down or back on. I tend to go around and switch them all off independently because it's not much fun if you're trying to get to sleep, you don't know how to switch them off. And once I've finished, power off there, units shut down, boilers shut down, and there I'm just about ready for the road. So what I'm going to do now, before we go outside, I'm just going to discuss winterization of your van, because this is how you will receive it completely drained and empty. So what we want to do, with the panel off and the pump switched off, I want to come along now and drain down my boiler to ground. Now this is so important, especially in those deep winter months, and I do that by lifting the yellow lever into the vertical upright position like so, down there. Okay, so that's now draining my boiler to ground. I've finished under this seat now, so I can shut that down, put that down to there, and I can now put my cushion back over, and you've got little elasticated straps which will clip back to stop those cushions falling over. To drain my fresh water tank, I need to get under this seat and access into the tank itself. By taking the lid off there, then I go down just under that pin there, and there will be a rubber bung. That rubber bung there I need to remove, and I tend to put that in there. I'll put it back in this instant, but for you it's a good idea just to put it into your kitchen sink, but I will put it back in once that's drained down to ground. So that's your van completely draining down. What the other thing I need to do is go around and open all my taps, and I set those in mid position and open them all. Now, as we all well know, when water freezes it expands. If it expands and it's got nowhere to go, it's going to damage and rupture pipework and fittings. As you saw, they were all plastic, we explained earlier. More so, it'll damage the tails on the taps or split the taps as well. So it's really important that you open all these up. So once you've collected your van and it's set in that winterized mode, what are you going to do and how are you going to set it up? Well, the first thing you're going to do when you're all excited, get your hose pipe out, open the filler, make sure the bung's in the tank, and start filling your fresh water tank. That has an overflow, so it shouldn't overflow into the van, but what I strongly suggest is for the very first time you fill it, I'd monitor around there that it doesn't leak out and it's all been tightened down correctly and you've got no leaks inside the van. Although we do it, if you go into here and you don't open that, tighten that down properly, it's just a little thing to give you your own confidence. You can follow it on the gauge of how far it's coming up. So you go and put the bung into there, and then you go around and you set your boiler drain from the vertical upright position to the parallel to the floor position. Once you've done that, you can then go around and close all your taps. With your van now got water in it, or all the drains are closed, you can come along, put on your power, and then switch on your water pump. With your water pump on, you can then come along, open your kitchen tap to cold, and then turn it through to hot. And what that's going to do is the pump's going to run, it's going to take water from the tank, it's going to put it through the boiler. It's going to then push all the air out of the boiler, out through my kitchen tap, which is the furthest one away. Once I've got a constant flow of cold water coming through the hot side of my tap, I then know that I'm almost fully purged and primed, and my boiler's then full of water. I can then just do the same with my shower and my wash hand basin just to get all the air out. Then I can come along to my boiler, switch on my boiler panel and start heating my hot water by selecting 60 degrees or 40 degrees eco or hot on there and selecting my power consumption that I want, power appliance I want to use. So that's you then with your hot water up and running, which now means we can go outside and we're going to disconnect my gas, okay, and take the bottle off. We're going to simulate doing this. We said to switch it off before you drive off, so we turn that in a clockwise direction like so. Undo the strap because I'm going to simulate taking this off as a part of changing it over from one bottle to another. It's always handy to have two bottles because should you run out of gas in one, it will always then have a spare bottle. You undo that. Now the difference is this is a back to front thread. It tells you on there open is to the right, so it's exactly to undo it is to in a right hand direction, back to front thread. Okay, we take that off there, ensuring the rubber grommets on the end, and we put it into our other bottle, and then we put it in the anti-clockwise position to tighten it. We can then take this bottle out and take it away to refill it. In my case, it's going over here for the next van that I need to set up for filming. Strongly recommend, if you can, get two bottles to sit in here. Okay, I would always else again recommend use this bottle here first, because when it's empty you can go onto that one. When you fill that one up, come back onto that one, because otherwise you've got to take 2 bottles out and just use the one in the back as a reserve. So that's your gas. I can now close that over like so and lock the locker door like that. Coming through and round now, there's my water running away, so that's the water from my boiler. Okay, I then come along and unplug, because my colleague's just said he's disconnected the other end for me. Okay, so I can take that out from there like so, and you can roll that up, store it away wherever you need to. I'm just going to put mine there ready for next, and then we can lock that cupboard up like so. Turn the key, and that's my battery locker now locked. So that's us. I'd come off my levelling wedges if I was on them. It just leaves me a place to put these handles, which I'll put under the seat in the back. Okay, that now we know is drained down, so we can turn that round, and that will lock up into position under there on a terry clip into there like so, and that one can go in there like so, which will store away. Door closed and locked up. I'm now ready for the road. So being ready, I can come round through, sit in my motorhome, close my door very quickly. I'm just going to start the engine there like so. The buzzing is a step just gone in. The camera's come on, so you've got a rear view and a reverse. So there's your reverse, there's a rear view when you're travelling. Okay, so it's a twin lens camera. Moving forwards, there we go, you get the better view there. Select reverse, it'll give me a downward view to see going back again. Okay, radio, okay, everything as we said. The little light there is my handbrake warning light if I haven't lowered my handbrake fully. Okay, on there like so. Date Thursday the 20th of July, etc. Off, and there we have a full trip around this lovely 6-berth motorhome for you today. Step back, and just leaves me thank you for purchasing from us at Viscount Leisure. My name's been Chris. Thanks for watching, and goodbye. Thank you.